Go get them bags packed, Broken Blade. We'll see you at Worlds. A phenomenal Game 5 performance out of him. We already were talking about it in a number of those replays, but for a young player like that in a Game 5 to break out the Camille and follow through on it in a carry performance, just phenomenal to see. Love to see it.
Yeah, look at the stats that he racked up on this Camille. They did give him the early gank for the top side in response to the bottom side overload from FlyQuest, but then he takes that, he gets the solo kill onto Gangplank, and he just blows open this lead in the side lane, then bringing it down to the rest of the team. Happy to see, a player like that finally get their championship. You can tell how much it means to him and how exhausted he is after that long series.
I can't wait to see them perform at Worlds because out of all the teams, TSM's our first seed, but they're the one that have the most very obvious, powerful pocket picks. Zilean Twisted Fate, carries in the top lane, Nidalee in the jungle. You can't ban all of them, so going into a group stage versus teams that not necessarily play carries in the top lane like we saw FlyQuest today, I feel like Broken Blade can have a really good time up there, come up with some good BO1 wins, and maybe this could be the year for NA to have hope. After all, our best teams just played a ton more playoff games in regular season.
Teams at Worlds will definitely take some of those champions that you're talking about.
Sadly.
As well.
Sadly.
I mean, I'm just glad that they were able to win. I'm actually so excited TSM won because they're the only team that feels like they're playing a bit more of that global, carry top meta. When you go up against these LPL teams, they're not going to be, picking these weak side only champions, which is what happens in North America. And TSM is clearly the best team at playing red side and carries for that reason. When you just look at the numbers, they are so much better than the rest of the league at playing on red side. They have a 58% win rate compared to, this is playoff for the rest of the league, was a 37% win side on red side. It's because no one will actually take the hard counter matchups when you blind your carry. So Broken Blade absolutely exposed the region, I think, a little bit. And TSM as a whole showed what you should be doing. And I hope to see teams adapt because they destroyed people with this playstyle.
The import from TCL, who came in, made a quick name for himself with some impressive performance in his first spring split, fell just short, we'll remember, in that finals series that year, and I feel was quickly written off. And so I think that adds to the storyline there, Kobe, where you're talking about, for him to kind of, rise back up in the face of some of that criticism where people are like, he had his shot in North America in a major region, and then he's done for. To follow through now in a carry meta in Game 5, I mean, that's just got to feel so sweet. You could kind of see some of the exhaustion on him in that interview, but I'm sure there's a lot of pride that comes along with that as well.
Completely agree. And he showed it on the Rift. Him talking about it, the importance of them trusting him in Game 5 in the most important match of the LCS. Game 5 of finals. And they do it again. They go right back to it. On the analyst desk, we were prepping going into it, and we're like, okay, well, they could just take the Twisted Fate and try that again and play to him, or they could kind of concede and play, team fight and try and play FlyQuest games. But they shoved that out of the window, and they're like, all right, we have faith in Broken Blade, and they did it.
They absolutely did. Well, after a grueling run through the postseason and a full 5-game series, finals player of the series could be awarded to so many individuals for each of their individual play, but the votes were tallied, and Bjergsen will walk away finals player of the series.
Feels like the culmination of a monster playoff performance out of Bjergsen. When they were struggling a little bit more in the early parts, it was definitely him who stepped up first, joined by more members of his team as they continued to make this run and people played better and better. Biofrost joining in the middle of playoffs and having an incredible Rakan performance at the end. But he is such a monster in game and in pick ban phase, always willing to give up a counter pick to his enemy player and still always have great games.
Yeah, I think definitely in some of the other series, for sure, like Spica stepping up, the Shen games, Biofrost with his Rakan, Double Lift even on Senna. But in this series, I think it had to go to Bjergsen. You look at those stats, you look at the importance of the Twisted Fate for them and the bans that he's able to draw.
It's
and
just good.
Go ahead.
It's good that it's contested. It's good that we have a team that actually you feel like, hey, I feel like all members played pretty well. Like that's a good problem to have.
When the votes are split, I'm a happy man because it means multiple people performed and they're getting recognition. It did break Bjergsen's way this time, but as we mentioned, Game 5 was all about Broken Blade. But over the course of the series, the consistency that Bjergsen lends, the leniency he gives the team in Champions Select to do things around playing red side properly, it just cannot be understated. Now, there's one more Verizon post-game interview lined up, so let's go ahead and hand it back over to the Tigris and Double Lift.